So I want to talk just briefly about what happens if these equations that we're trying are not in standard form. So we notice, and at the bottom of your worksheet, there's a few like this. You got one equation, that top equation not really in any form, second equation not really in any form. But the thing is with these equations, you can do whatever you want to them. We've been doing a lot of algebra. Do whatever works best for you. If you want to put them in slope-intercept form and graph them, go right ahead. If you want to isolate one variable and substitute into the other one, go right ahead. If you want to use the elimination method, which I always like because it's pretty simple, we have to rearrange some things sometimes. We could put them into standard form, or we could just line up the variables. It really doesn't matter how we get these to work together. Just put them in some kind of situation so that we can line the variables up above each other. And then we can use the elimination method. So all the ones we've done have been in standard form. So what if I rearrange these things to put them into standard form? So if I take that first equation, I like this pink color, and put it in standard form, let's see, that would be 4x. If I subtract that 2y from both sides, I'd get 4x minus 2y equals negative 18. And you can check my math there. I think that's right. I moved this over here, and then the minus 18 stays there. Okay. With the other equation, putting it in standard form, I'd put the x first and the y second. And I would move that 15 over here, so equals minus 15. They don't have to be in standard form. Again, they can be in any form. But try to line them up so that the x's and y's are on top of each other. The equal sign needs to be lined up with the equal sign, and the constant should be lined up with the constant. And then once it's in that form, we can just use that standard form idea, or that elimination idea. Maybe I'll multiply that top equation through by a negative 2, which would give me a negative 8x plus 4y equals a positive 36. Did I do that right? And now I can combine these two equations through addition. The x's would be eliminated. 7y equals 21, and y equals 3. And then again, I'm going to go back and plug into any one of those equations. Now, if we look up here, I have a bunch of equations, right? I have this equation and this equation. I have the ones that I rearranged. It doesn't matter, whichever one looks easiest for you to substitute that y value into. We are good. How about I use an orange color? I'll substitute into that first equation for the y. And y is 3. So I have negative 18 plus 6 equals 4x. That's negative 12 equals 4x. So x equals negative 3. You can hear my dog scratching himself on the side here. So again, just rearrange some things, line them up with each other, and you're good to go. So let me do one more example here. And as we scan through this problem, I notice I got those fractions in there, right? And we don't love to do these problems with fractions. So let's get rid of them, and we can get rid of them by multiplying through by the common denominator, which in this case would be 8. So that new equation is going to transform into 0 equals 8 minus y minus 2x. So much easier equation to work with. What if I don't put this one in standard form? What if I just line up the variables on top of each other? So let's see. I have 0 equals minus 3x plus 12 minus 8y. Let me rearrange that second one so that the x's and y's and the constants are on top of each other. So 0 equals, that would be, I'll move the x first, so negative 2x plus 8, the constant came next, and then minus y. So I'm going to follow through on this just to show you it doesn't really matter what form we're in. If I want to eliminate one of those, probably the easiest thing for me to do would be multiply that bottom equation by a negative 8. So I have a coefficient of negative 8 and a coefficient of negative 1. If I multiply through by negative 8, that's going to give me 0 equals 16x minus 64y, but then plus 8y. So now with the first equation and my transformed equation, let me rewrite the first equation. When I add those together, the y's will eliminate. But I have to be careful here. I still have to maintain that equality, that equation. 0 plus 0 is 0 equals, that would be 13x minus 52. I think that's right. Now I'm going to solve for x. I'll add the 52. 52 equals 13x. For those of you who play cards, you know what the answer is here. Dividing by 13, x equals 4. Okay, so I didn't put them in standard form. It doesn't matter. We can put them in any form you want. Just make sure that the x's line up with the x's, the constants line up with the constants, the y's line up with the y's, the equals line up with themselves, the other side of the equation lines up with itself. Make sure everything's lined up. But the nice thing about these systems of equations, you can do whatever you want to them. However you see it, go ahead and solve it that way. It doesn't matter. You're in charge of the equations. Do whatever you want them to do. I didn't solve for y. I'll let you guys go back and solve for y if you want to. But that's it. Sometimes you have to rearrange them. No big deal. We got this. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.